Makoto Shinkai has become one of the most well-known directors in anime. He's been making movies since the late 90s, but truly became himself with 2007's 5 centimeters per second, and got even better with 2016's Your Name. Your Name is my favourite movie of all time. I can appreciate that there are better films, most notably Shawshank Redemption and Schindler's List, but since I watched Your Name in December 2021, it has grew to become my favourite film. The film took Shinkai to another level of popularity. Sure, he'll never be a Tarantino or a Spielberg, but the main reason isn't the quality of films, it's because he makes anime. Your Name is a beautiful tale of time, and by beautiful, I mean beautiful. Your Name is one of the best animated films ever, with sweeping landscapes and skies that make you tear up. The story is unique, but just understandable enough to allow the movie to have blown up in the anime community. And it rose to become the #1 anime movie of all time in terms of how much money it's grossed. And while it doesn't hold that spot anymore, it's the 3rd highest, definitely deserves the acclaim it got. He followed that up with Weathering With You in 2019, which to be fair is not as good. But it's still a really good movie. The animation style is almost identical to Your Name, which wasn't a mistake, as how could Shinkai improve the perfect animation? And the story was good. Not as good as Mitsuha and Taki, but still very good. But as you probably know by clicking on this video, Makoto Shinkai has recently released another movie. On November 11th, 2022, he released Suzume, or Suzume no Tojimari. It then followed up in 2023 with an international release. Lucky enough for me, on the 14th of April, the release date in the UK, I got to see it in Cardiff. The movie is really good. It's a downright masterpiece by Shinkai, and definitely not his first. It's familiar enough to the previous films he made, while still different enough to let it fly. Which is the main issue for me with Weathering With You, as it is very similar with Your Name. The animation style is truly identical to Your Name, Weathering With You, and his previous shorter film, The Garden of Words. But who really cares? Tarantino directs basically all of his movies in the exact same style, and so does Shinkai. When he was growing, he went through different styles, including Voices of a Distant Star, where he figured out how people would look like if blind and that looks didn't matter for evolution. But once Garden of Words came out and he managed to pick out one style to maintain, he's done a really good job with it. 4 films in a row now, Garden, Your Name, Weathering, Suzume, they have perfect animation. His style, which no one else except maybe Demon Slayer can really compare to, it's just visibly pleasing. The characters are simple enough to be able to draw, but the landscapes are just perfect. The story of this movie is very unique. Shinkai seems to enjoy that in his recent films. He's gone from 2 childhood friends slowly drifting apart as they live far away, to a student falling in love with their teacher, to now a girl falling in love with a chair. And even that weirdness, Shinkai manages to pull it off. Just like he's pulled off almost everything. I've already mentioned Voices of a Distant Star, with the terrible human animation, some of the worst I've ever seen. But even with that, the story is good. I don't like the film overall. It's still a 5 out of 10, but he has made it so much better than it could have been. Suzume is the same, a story where at times you aren't sure how to feel, how to react. But it works as the characters help to make the film feel special. When I was in theatres, I felt amazing. I was there with one of my best friends, and it was the best cinematic experience I've ever had. Even when it's not the best film I've ever seen on the big screen. Suzume as a main is the top character he has made. 5 centimeters per second had 3 good characters, but no one was really special except maybe Kanai. Your Name gave us both Mitsuha and Taki. Both are really great leads who have tons of development. Mitsuha in particular was and is one of my favourite characters in anime history. But Suzume is different, due to the weird fact that she is the main lead. Unlike Your Name, where they had 2 different people who are basically equals, Suzume has a lot more development. Everything she does makes sense. She had a reason to be excited to leave home. She has a reason to feel guilty about her aunt. Sure, if you pictured a female protagonist in a Makoto Shinkai film, you'll get an image of her. She looks similar to every previous character. But is that really a bad thing? Because Suzume overall is a phenomenal character. Shinkai once again brought back Radwimps for the soundtrack. It's his 3rd movie in a row where they used them, and once again, bravo. The Your Name soundtrack is the best of the 3, but the title track from Suzume is the best song they've made for him, overtaking Sparkle. Radwimps really can't mess up, and I won't be readying my pitchfork if Shinkai announces they are returning for his next film. Also, the vinyl is coming out soon, and I really hope I can get it. Fingers crossed. The film is not perfect. It's not far off, to be fair, but it does have two main issues. Not mistakes, but issues. The opening scene cannot compare to Your Name's. It's weirdly made. It took around 30 minutes for Mitsuha and Taki to realise that they are switching places. In Suzume, the main part of the story really begins in the first 10. It has to do this as this film is a lot. Makoto Shinkai packed so much into a 2-hour runtime, and it mostly works. I was never bored, but I was also never overwhelmed. Shinkai is outlandish, and maybe at times it's too much. In a second I'll talk about the main thing, which I've already mentioned, but the opening is too fast. The pacing is wrong. In the theatre with Tom, I knew I was going to enjoy this. The opening made me rethink a little. I knew it was going to be good, sure. The story and characters could be horrible, and the animation would make it worthy of a 6 out of 10. But from the beginning, But he brought it back when Suzume and Sota finally meet, and yes, I have to talk about Sota turning into a chair. I know it's a big spoiler. For these shorter movie reviews, I don't want to spoil too much, but it's in the trailer. So yes, Sota, one of the two main protagonists, early on turns into a chair. I don't dislike this. Yes, it's really dumb. Maybe the stupidest thing Shinkai's done since drawing faces like that. But it worked for Suzume. Suzume was a character who really needed the most of the film for herself. Sota is still there, able to talk, able to move, but he's a chair. If someone else is in the scene with Suzume, he is silent. It works that lets Suzume be herself and shows us why she's so willing to drop everything and help Sota. And even though I like the weirdness, it does impact the emotional beats. I won't spoil the main emotional beat, even though for some reason it's also in the trailer. The emotion doesn't work as well as Your Name or Weathering. Both Weathering and Your Name use emotion well. Not as watery-eyed as A Silent Voice or the ending of Assassination Classroom, but both are in some way or another emotional. Suzume tries this, and in 2 parts of the films, it works. But in the main emotional part, the big halfway mark through the movie, where I think it was meant to be compared to finding out what happened to Mitsuha in Your Name, I wanted to cry. That is one of the best parts in most Shinkai movies. But I didn't. I liked the scene, but I was just like, am I really going to cry about a chair? But in other emotional parts, I did cry. Especially, how can I say this without spoiling it? The black pages. If you haven't seen the movie, you probably won't understand, which is a good thing. The black pages near the end do get me. It's a brilliant scene. The actual ending is also really nice. And the film overall is a masterpiece. It's a 10 out of 10, and in my opinion, his second best movie, though this might be recency bias. You really should go out to watch Suzume, even if you wrote off him as someone who can only make Your Name style films. Is that really a bad thing? Tell me what you think about these type of videos. They're more similar to Carsten Rundquist, who is a really good YouTuber by the way, and I'm sorry that I basically stole his thumbnail format. That wasn't meant to be clickbait. I really like the minimalism and I really like his videos. I want to be able to make these shorter videos while I'm in the middle of making long ones like I currently am. My next video is most likely going to be why Inglourious Basterds is Quentin Tarantino's best movie, which is an opinion that I hold and I've held for a while. I don't know how long that video is going to take, so I'd like to pump one of these out every few weeks, maybe once a week, maybe once every 2 weeks. I think that's important right now considering I've only uploaded 1 video this year. Have I uploaded 1 video or have I uploaded 2? I can't remember. 1 or 2 videos this year. And it's about to be May. I need to pick up the pace, I need to get off my arse, and I need to upload. So hopefully these shorter videos can help. Also, sorry if the footage I show for this movie, mainly when talking about Suzume, wasn't good. Obviously, since the film is still in its theatrical release, I only got the footage that was available from the trailers and from whatever I could find on YouTube. Thank you for watching. Goodbye and good night. Bang.